My fiancé refused a prenup, and I learned she'd been copying my bakery secrets for months. My fiancé, Olivia, laughed at my prenup and said, "You either marry me as is, or not at all." I'm Brandon, 29, and I didn't realize that laugh was a warning sign. Last year, my grandma died and left me her bakery, a small shop that's been in our family for 60 years. When Olivia and I got engaged after 18 months, my lawyer told me to do a simple prenup that protects the bakery. Just the business, he said. I brought it up over dinner at Romano's, her favorite Italian place. Olivia put her fork down, smirked, and laughed like I'd told a joke. "Seriously?" she said. "You think I'm after your little cupcake shop?" The way she said little hit me like a slap. Then she leaned in and went cold. "You either marry me as is or not at all. I'm not signing papers that say I get nothing." I stared at her, waiting for her to soften. She didn't, so I said, "Okay." She smiled wide. "Good. I knew you'd drop this legal nonsense." I shook my head. "No, Olivia. Okay is me choosing not at all. The engagement is off." Her smile vanished. "What?" she snapped. "You heard me," I said. "You just told me how you see this." I left cash on the table and walked out. That night, she called over and over. When I didn't answer, the texts came, bouncing from crying to anger to, "You're throwing us away over paper." The next morning, I started canceling the wedding. 2 months out, venue, photographer, deposits. I lost about $8,000, and it hurt, but I'd rather lose money than marry into that attitude. Olivia kept showing up at my apartment and at the bakery, acting like I owed her a debate. I told my staff she wasn't allowed in the back anymore, and I changed the alarm code and every password I could. I even told them to write down every time she came in and never leave her alone in the shop. I thought that would be enough. Then my assistant, Samantha, pulled me aside while we were packing orders. "Brandon," she said, "Olivia came by when you were at the farmer's market twice." My stomach dropped. "Why?" I asked. Samantha lowered her voice. "She asked about our suppliers, our margins, and who our big clients are. Then she asked to see your grandma's recipe book. She said she wanted to plan a business surprise for you." I went straight to the office computer and checked the login history. Olivia's account had been used again and again, on days I wasn't even there. Then I opened the downloads folder. My heart started pounding. Supplier lists, pricing sheets, a copy of our customer database, and a folder of photos. Photos of my grandma's handwritten recipe pages, taken with a phone. The red velvet formula, the apple cinnamon rolls that people drive across town for. I pulled the security camera footage from the back office, and there she was, alone, flipping pages and snapping picture after picture. I didn't call her to talk. I called my lawyer. "Patrick," I said, "she stole trade secrets. He told me to save everything." So I printed the logs, saved the footage, and locked the recipe book away. I thought the threat of a lawsuit would scare her. It didn't. About 2 months later, a new bakery opened across town with a bright sign, "Olivia's Sweet Dreams." I saw a flyer, and my stomach turned. It was advertising my grandma's red velvet cupcakes and her apple cinnamon rolls. She didn't just take a recipe. She copied the whole thing. Then an envelope showed up in my mailbox. It was an invitation to her grand opening with a handwritten note. "Thanks for the inspiration, Brandon. Some things are too good not to share." My hands were shaking when I read it, but I kept it because it was proof. Patrick filed the lawsuit that week for theft of trade secrets and unfair competition, and we pushed for an order to stop her fast. When Olivia got served, she called me screaming that I was trying to ruin her life. I said, "You ruined mine when you stole from my family," and I hung up. In Discovery, we found texts between Olivia and her sister that made my skin crawl. "Get everything I need before the wedding," she wrote. There were emails with real estate agents and a business loan application dated before our prenup dinner. She wasn't blindsided by the prenup. She was already planning to take what she wanted. The hearing was quick and tense. Patrick laid out the logins, the downloads, the photos, and the camera footage. The judge didn't look impressed. An order came down stopping Olivia from using the stolen recipes. A week later, she signed a settlement, closed the shop, pay damages, and sign a non-compete. In Patrick's office, she slid the signed papers across the table with a hard stare. Patrick nodded at me like, "It's done." I went back to my bakery, walked into my office, and locked my grandma's recipe book in the safe.